You're listening to CherryPickin Entertainment.
Throw me the ball and watch what I do with it.
You are now tuned into the CherryPickin podcast with your host, Andre Cherry.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the CherryPickin podcast. I am so excited that the college football season is officially underway this week. Week 1 action kicks off this week. We had week 0 action last week where we had a few games in week 0, but week 1 action is straight ahead. And I'm excited to be talking to you all right now. I'm excited for you to be listening to this podcast episode. We are in season 8 of the CherryPickin podcast, and I couldn't be more thrilled for the season that I think we are going to have. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be full of unexpected surprises. There's going to be teams that probably came out of nowhere to be a dark horse that'll get into the playoffs. We've got teams that we're expecting to be good and perhaps maybe fall short of the mark. There's so many different storylines that can take place from now until the end of the season, and I'm just excited that we are at week 1. And it always feels like the season flies by, which I'm sure will be the case this year. But week 1, there's so much optimism, there's so much hope abound that any team has a shot to make it all the way. Every team right now is 0-0. Meaning they've got 0 wins, 0 losses, aside from the teams that played in week 0, certainly. But the teams, for the most part, all have a blank slate ahead. So I'm excited to get into it. I'm excited to talk to you all. And I'm excited for you all to come on this college football journey with me this season. So we'll go ahead and kick off the show. And I want to talk about the biggest news to hit college football in the past week. Has to be the SEC deciding to go with a 9-game schedule starting in 2026. So this past week, the SEC announced that it would be moving to a 9-game conference schedule starting in 2026, and the decision was approved by the SEC's presidents and chancellors after a recommendation by the athletic directors in the conference. And I quote, "Adding a 9th SEC game underscores our university's commitment to delivering the most competitive football schedule in the nation," and that comes from SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. And he said this in a news release, and it continues, "This format protects rivalries, increases competitive balance, and paired with our requirement to play an additional power opponent, ensures SEC teams are well prepared to compete and succeed in the college football playoff," end quote. So what this means is that with this new format, each school in the SEC will play 3 annual opponents, which will focus on maintaining traditional rivalries, while the remaining 6 games will rotate among the rest of the SEC conference. SEC teams are required to schedule at least 1 additional non-conference opponent from the remaining Power 4 conferences or Notre Dame each season. I believe that this is truly a groundbreaking move for a conference that is arguably the best each season when compared across the entire landscape of college football. The SEC is, I would say, arguably the best conference for college football. I know Big Ten fans will say otherwise, but the SEC has always been the standard. Just like the ACC has always been the standard, in my mind, for college basketball. I think this is a groundbreaking move, and it positions the SEC teams well for inclusion into the playoffs at the end of the regular season, because isn't that what everyone is playing for, to be included into the playoffs? I mean, it's big business, this college football playoffs. It just expanded recently, so it's like this is a big deal to get into the playoffs. And so the SEC is trying to do everything it can to make sure that its teams have a very competitive strength of schedule, because we know that goes into the equation, and I like the move, honestly. I think it's a great move. I have no doubt that this will spur other conferences like the ACC to follow suit if they want to remain competitive and keep their team's strength of schedules in the mix with the other top teams from the SEC and the Big Ten. Because at the end of the day, it's the SEC and the Big Ten, and we're all just kind of playing in their conferences, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, they're at the controls, and we're kind of just, all the teams from the other conferences are all just kind of falling in line with what the SEC and the Big Ten decide to do. And the SEC moved first in this situation here. I think it moves us away from scheduling cupcake opponents in the earlier weeks of the season. And I feel like for the most part, the SEC has generally been pretty good about not scheduling, Division 1A, AA teams and having too many cupcakes in the schedule. And I'm just kind of going off the top of my dome there. Like, I really believe that the SEC genuinely plays tougher opponents, or they play non-cupcake teams year in and year out. The same can't be said for the Big Ten or the ACC, or probably even the Big 12, but the SEC is really trying to position itself as the power conference. They want to get the most teams in the playoffs each season. I think this is a great move. And college football, it's changing so much. We see it happening right before our eyes. I mean, these last few years, the game has changed. The rules around the game have changed dramatically. It takes more than just a winning record to get into the playoffs. Like, that's no longer enough to get into the playoffs, to have an undefeated record. The quality of those games matters so much. I applaud the SEC for making this decision. I think college football is better off for it. What do you think about the SEC moving to 9 games starting in 2026 among their conference? Do you like that move? Do you dislike it? Let me know. Hit me up. And now we'll go ahead and transition to my top 5 locks within the Power 4 conferences. I do this every year on the podcast. I want to give you 5 games within the Power 4 conferences that I feel are surefire winners. And this is not necessarily a betting podcast, but I like to make predictions. I like to make straight up predictions. I've been doing that since the inception of CherryPickin. And this season, I want to follow the trend and give you top 5 locks within the Power 4 conferences. We'll go ahead and kick this off in the ACC. I'm taking NC State over ECU. State versus ECU has become a big rivalry game anytime these teams get together. Really, anytime ECU takes on any of the other universities from the state of North Carolina, things can get really feisty. This is the 34th meeting between these two schools, and both teams last met in December at the Military Bowl down in Annapolis, where the Pirates beat my beloved Wolfpack by a score of 26-21. This year, these teams are meeting in Raleigh on August 28th to open up the season. 2024 was a bit of a downer for NC State, as it was the program's first losing season since 2019. I guess it's okay to take a step back if the future looks bright moving forward. So the future is right now. But right now, I'm not so certain how I see NC State performing this season. I don't know how I feel, if they're going to be competitive. Like, of course, making it to a bowl game should be the absolute minimum, but we want more than that, and I'm not sure if we will get more than that this season. I do think a win against ECU is definitely an expectation, so if we lose this game, I think it's going to be a rough season ahead. However, I am excited to see sophomore quarterback CJ Bailey return for the Wolfpack this season. He's got a promising career, and he's been a welcome homegrown addition to the program, especially after it feels like head coach Dave Doran was only reloading with portal players at the QB position. And I feel like he had been doing that the last few seasons, but CJ Bailey is a homegrown talent. Bailey really provided a spark to this program last year when he started 8 games in 2024. He ranks number 2 behind Phillip Rivers for passing yards by a true freshman. The top 2 receivers and running back returned to the program this season, which should help Bailey tremendously. And we will only go as far as Bailey will take us. So I am rooting for that young man. Hope he can take us to the promised land, so to speak. But in this matchup against ECU, I'm taking NC State over the Pirates. And then I'm going to do another game out of the ACC. I'm going to take Alabama over FSU. I appreciate that FSU isn't afraid to schedule real competition to open up their season this year. Alabama is going to be good this season, and I feel like this matchup will be a true indicator for how far away FSU may be from returning to glory. It also feels like this is a make or break year for head coach Mike Norvell, who is already in his 6th season down there in Tallahassee, if you can believe it or not. Last season, his Noles had a disaster of a year, only going 2-10 on the season. The Noles returned 16 total starters from offense and defense, and also welcome in transfer quarterback Thomas Castellanos from Boston College, who has a lot of playmaking ability. And on the other side of the ball, the 2 leading tacklers returned for the Seminoles, including Blake Nicholson, who should be an anchor on defense this season. However, this Bama team will be too much for Florida State to manage. Even with the loss of quarterback Jalen Milroe on offense, the Crimson Tide defense is solid and very experienced. And to make matters more difficult, Alabama has not lost a season opener in over 23 years. So I know FSU gets Bama at home, but I think the Crimson Tide rolls baby rolls on August 30th. So I'm picking Bama to win by at least 2 touchdowns against Florida State. Then in the Big Ten, I'm taking Ohio State over Texas. This is a big-time matchup in Week 1 with OSU and Texas squaring off inside the shoe. I like what Steve Sarkisian has been able to build down there in Austin in 4 seasons. His teams have improved every season and has even made it to the college football playoffs each of the last 2 years. I think Texas can have a very good season. I just don't know if they top the success and production that they had from a 13-3 season a year ago. I also don't know if I'm fully sold on Arch Manning yet. I know the media loves him. I know his nephews are famous, or his uncles rather, are very famous. They're stars. They're made men, so to speak. I feel like we're being led to believe that Arch Manning is the next great Manning. I don't know yet. I want to see more. I do think that this blue blood matchup against Ohio State will show the nation a lot. But I'm under the belief that Texas takes the L in Week 1 and then uses the game as some sort of motivation for the rest of the season. Ohio State lost a lot of firepower at the end of last season as well. They only have 9 returning starters this year. But the thing about Ohio State is that they always seem to reload in the positions that truly mean the most. And anytime you've got Jeremiah Smith lined up at wide receiver, he's a threat from any spot on the field. Last season, he led the Buckeyes in receptions with 76 and in yards at 1,315 and touchdowns at 15. He is a Sports Illustrated preseason All-American. I expect for him to have a huge impact in Ohio State's win against Texas this weekend. So I'm taking Ohio State over Texas out of the Big Ten. In the Big 12, I'm taking Georgia Tech over the Colorado Buffaloes. And I feel like Georgia Tech has been a forgotten program these last few seasons. Head coach Brent Key is in his 4th year in Atlanta, and while his Yellow Jackets have posted 7 wins each of these last 2 seasons, I feel like this has to be the season Georgia Tech tries to go for broke. Their schedule is actually pretty favorable, with the exceptions of Clemson at home in Week 3 and then Georgia to end the season. I think the Yellow Jackets have a great opportunity to go on the road to Boulder to hand the Buffs a loss to open the season. Coach Prime has thankfully recovered from his bladder cancer and should be ready to go, but he lost a lot of his offense, including Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and his former quarterback son, Shedeur Sanders. The Buffs only returned 3 starters, and I feel like they will struggle against a Georgia Tech defense that returns 4 of the top 5 tacklers from a season ago, including junior middle linebacker Kyle Efford. I'm taking the Yellow Jackets to win against the Buffaloes in a close one. And then out of the SEC, I'm taking Tennessee over Syracuse. Tennessee opens its season with a lot of well-earned hype from a season ago. It was one in which the Volunteers made it to the college football playoffs. Head coach Josh Heupel has revived the program, and he enters his 5th season in Knoxville, hoping to best his 10-3 record from a year ago. Their schedule is very manageable, and they should be a dark horse to run the tables again this season, especially when you consider they return 13 total starters. They are going to be a tough opponent for Syracuse, though, this weekend, especially on the road in a hostile SEC environment down in Atlanta, Georgia. I like Fran Brown a lot, and I am impressed that he was able to earn a 10-3 record with the Orange in 2024. This year, though, he only returns 2 starters on his offense, and he loses quarterback Kyle McCord, who's now on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. I think Tennessee makes slight work of Syracuse this weekend and wins big in the A. So I'm taking Tennessee over Syracuse. So there we have it, my friends. Those are my top 5 locks out of the Power 4 conferences. I'll run that down for you one more time. In the ACC, Bama over FSU. In the Big 10, OSU over Texas. In the Big 12, Georgia Tech over the Buffs. Out of the SEC, Tennessee over Syracuse. Before we get out of here, I did want to just give a shout out to Lee Corso. He's going to have his shout out or his send off this upcoming weekend. 90-year-old coach Lee Corso is retiring from College Game Day this weekend, if you weren't aware. He's been doing the show for longer than I've been alive at 40 years.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
When I think of college football and College Game Day specifically, I will always think back about Lee Corso. He's been a mainstay on that program since its inception. There's been a noticeable decline, though, in Lee Corso's ability to be able to do the show since he had a stroke back in 2009, and then probably just due to his old age in general. But his enthusiasm and heart for the show has never waned. Like, you can tell that he loves doing that show. You can tell that his spirit is high. Like, he is a welcomed face on that show each week. I do get it, though. It's kind of difficult to program a show when, one of its stars is clearly not what he used to be. I mean, it's a tough watch at times to see him kind of get through each segment, but he does get through them. And he's earned the right to be on the show for as long as he has. Like, this is not to bash him at all. Like, I truly appreciate everything that he's done for college football. I've grown up watching Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit. Like, these guys have been in my home for as long as I can remember. And I love the show. Like, I wish I could be on the show. Honestly, like, he set the blueprint. He set the standard for this type of format. Like, I love what they do. He has the best job in college football, honestly. Like, that's the best job in sports, actually. I really do appreciate that Kirk Herbstreit, in particular, has always been very kind to Coach Corso. He's been like a rock for his friend all these years. But I do think it's time for a change. I want to salute Lee Corso for one hell of a career. He will certainly be missed. I can also say now that I won't be looking forward to Pat McAfee filling that void of the headgear selections each weekend. Like, I get McAfee is a rising talent. He's everywhere. Like, he's in WWE. He's got his show on ESPN. He's on College Game Day. Like, you can't avoid Pat McAfee. And I'm not saying he doesn't have talent. He's not skilled at what he does. He's very good at what he does. But I'm just going to be tired of seeing him fill that void of doing the headgear selections and just being crazy and over the top like he normally is. So I will deeply miss from Lee Corso. Like, I love that ending of College Game Day, that last segment. It's always fun, and then it leads right into the action for the noon game. So what a career. Again, I've seen his show maybe a couple times in person, and I was glad to be there to just see kind of how that production goes down. But I'm sure it's going to be sad to see him kind of sign off for one final time. And I applaud everybody around that production for making Lee Corso feel at home and feel respected and feel still like he's a part of the fabric of that show. Like, he's a very special part of everything they do on College Game Day, and it's going to be different to see that show without him there. So definitely want to give him his proper send-off and goodbye and just a shout-out for what he's done over the years. And then the last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is, I'm excited for college football this weekend, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to watch college football from Thursday through the Labor Day weekend. But I'm also very excited to head down the shore to Ocean City, New Jersey, to watch some high school football. New Jersey does this Battle at the Beach Classic, and there's going to be games that are being played at legendary Carey Stadium in Ocean City. It's one of the most beautiful views in high school football, certainly. I can't wait to just take it in. And this Battle at the Beach tournament, it's like a 10-game slate. It includes national powers Bergen Catholic, East St. Louis, IMG Academy. I mean, Bergen Catholic has been a power for as long as I can remember. Like, when I was playing high school football, they were always good. And East St. Louis, they've really come onto the map these last several years in Illinois high school athletics as being a power as well. Luther Burden III, he was drafted by the Bears in this last draft. I think he went in the second round. He's a wide receiver. I mean, he came from East St. Louis. Like, there's some athletes, there's some studs that come out of that program. There's some studs that go to Illinois. Luther Burden went to Mizzou. So, they are a power that I have never actually had the opportunity to see in person, and they're going to be playing Bergen Catholic this Thursday night. I know a coach on the team for Bergen Catholic. He had kind of invited me out. He's like, why don't you come check this event out? I don't know how much I'll be able to see him, as he's coaching, certainly, but like maybe I could see him in the beginning, just say what's up. But I'm excited to just be out there and watch some high school football, see some future stars. Excited to see IMG Academy as well. I watched them play this past weekend on ESPN, and they are dominant. I mean, they look like they are some real athletes, and it's crazy because these kids look so much bigger, faster, stronger than any kids that I knew when I was growing up. And IMG Academy, I know that's like legit football. They are there to create and make stars out of IMG Academy. I think they're playing Hoover High School out of Alabama. I mean, it was close until it wasn't. They got this running back there who is a beast at IMG Academy. He's like 6'1", 235 pounds. That's grown man size. It's crazy. Actually, I really cannot wait for Thursday to watch this high school tournament, the Battle at the Beach 2025. I think you can still get tickets online if you search it. If you're local to New Jersey or kind of in the area, the tri-state area, certainly I think it'll be a fun event. I can't wait to go down, and it should be fun to see some future stars before they hit the college circuit. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for college football. This weekend, week 1 action is coming at us, and it'll be here really, really soon, which, hey, I'm all in favor of. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast episode. Thank you for downloading it. Thank you for being a friend, and I can't wait to talk to you all again soon here. So enjoy week 1 college football. Hope you have a great time this weekend. Stay safe, and we will get at you on the next podcast episode. But until then, take care, everybody. Have a good one. Peace. You can't avoid Pat McAfee. Thank you again for tuning into my Cherry Pickin' podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to subscribe to my show and drop me a rating on Apple Podcasts. All of my digital content can be found at the website CherryPickinSports.com. And if you are looking to interact with me via social media, my Twitter handle is @Cherry_Pickin. That's PICKIN. On my Twitter, you'll also find a link to my blog where I post my weekly college football predictions and analysis. I can also be reached via email at cherrypickinsports@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to me regarding what you like about this podcast or about what content you'd like to hear more of on future episodes. I sincerely thank you for your support, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Take care.